There's a lot of strategies for Chimps mode, but some of them are definitely older and more recognizable, so let's take a look at the top 3 most classic strategies in Bloons TD6, and I'm going to be showing you how to use them properly so you can get many black borders with these famous strategies. And they're all really good, really popular, so let's check them out. They're definitely good to know. Starting off with Avatar of Wrath. This one I feel like is the most famous. Like, you'd see everybody using Avatar of Wrath like way back in the day and still. So it starts off with the Druid and the Dart Monkey and Oban. Sometimes on harder maps you might not be able to start with Druid or Dart Monkey so easily, so you could get something else just to start off, but you're going to be able to get Oban down relatively quickly, and Oban is amazing in the early game, especially with recent buffs, so this strategy is stronger than it used to be. I always like to do something a little bit different to what typically would have been done a long time ago. It just makes things a lot easier. I go for what would eventually be a Druid of the Storm for the early game, just because all of these recent buffs with Oban makes it a lot more powerful. Camos can actually be beaten with Brambles, but that might be a bit tricky for some newer players, so I recommend getting a crossbow, and then we'll work on that Druid of the Storm. You can use the Lightning with like a 202 Druid paired with Oban. That just destroys the early game, and on this beginner map, I'm going to be able to go straight through round 40 without really having to buy anything, which is pretty funny. On harder maps, all the way up to like advanced and even expert maps, this will still work, and it's pretty cool and a really easy and powerful strategy that you can use, and a good one to get you in with like a few more complicated subjects like placement and all. I can get the Druid of the Storm for round 40 and use Oban's Brambles, and that takes it out really easily. The Brambles cracks the layer open, and the Druid of the Storm blows back all the ceramics. Next thing we're going to want is the villages. You can do discounts. Discounts can actually save a lot of money, but to keep things easy, and if you're not good at with your placements, you might want to avoid that. But stepping up to discounts is definitely a good thing that will help. We're then going to want to get 6 Druids so we can practice those placements and upgrade them all to Druid of Wrath. If you have the money, which you will, you could get maybe a few of them up to Druid of Wrath for round 40 to help you out, especially if the map is shorter. You'll probably need that. Then after they're at Druid of Wrath and we have a 200 village, we can upgrade them to Pop List. We aren't going to need a camo village because by the time round 42 comes, Oban is going to be level 8 and we'll give all the Druids camo, which is really nice. So we'll get all those guys up to Pop List. And we have a great synergy and a lot of damage now, but we can ramp it up even more with 2 stronger stimulants, 401, that are covering the pop list generally. It's a good thing to note that the stronger stimulant will be applied to the closest monkeys, so you want to put them in that placement accordingly. You don't want to put a stronger stimulant next to that dart monkey, for example. With this, you will need a little bit of space, but if you're not doing discounts, you should be able to get it pretty easily, and this is definitely a good way to learn and practice your placements for some harder strategies, like one later down on the list that's going to take a lot of work, but they are really strong. So moving on from here, we kind of just destroy everything. You can use open brambles if you want. You can use trees, place it at the end. Just note that trees do not make extra money. What goes in comes out, and you need to kind of watch to pick up the bananas at the end, or else you kind of just lose out on the money. Then from there, we can cruise straight into the 80s, usually around like 81, 82, 83 maybe even. We can get Avatar of Wrath, and we grab that, and now we're just destroying everything. The next thing we need is MIB, so we're going to get an MIB village up. I just took that village with the jungle drums and upgraded it. If you're going for discounts, you do 2 discounts, a 202 and a 230. You want to get MIB later though, after you get Avatar of Wrath, because that is the first priority. You just need the MIB to take out the DDTs. From there, you're doing really, really good. On beginner maps, this is actually really all you need. You could just cruise straight through and not deal with anything. But on harder maps, you are going to have to deal with some issues. DDTs in particular, round 95 and 99 are going to be the toughest. Dense rounds like 98 and round 100 are very easy. Avatar of Wrath tends to take them out very well, so I recommend getting like a Sabo and a Relentless Glue. That should cover the DDTs pretty well, and you can spend your money however you want elsewhere to be able to take out the later rounds. But this definitely is a very common and very powerful strategy, and if you learn how to do it just right, like here, you can take out so many maps. So as you can see there, it's a beginner map, so they was able to take out the DDTs, but on some harder maps that might have leaked, so a Sabo and a Relentless Glue would definitely be necessary there. But yeah, that's Avatar of Wrath, extremely powerful and a great one to know. Another good one to know, as all of these I guess are good to know, is Sub Commander. This one was a strategy that's been kind of used for pretty much like a long time too, way back then. It got like the super buffed at one point, and at one point in the game, I think in like late teens or early 20 updates, this was like the meta, like the best strategy. So let's take a look at how to use it. It's still very strong, and there's a few ways to go about it. So we're gonna be going for triple guns pretty early on. Normally get the air burst first, and then we have intel darts that are placed throughout the map, so we can get advanced intel and it can shoot everywhere. We'll grab Brickle. You can actually use like other heroes. Brickle will have that Mega Mine, the main attack, which actually does more than you might think, and then the level 3, which buffs everything, which is pretty nice. But there are other heroes and options that you could do too. And then we'll have our subs going on. So we need to make sure that our subs are in the back of the map. You don't want them chasing Bloons. If they're chasing Bloons with intel, it is very bad. So they need to be placed in the back and shooting into, then chasing at. And we'll alch buff this triple guns once we get that up, and that thing's going to be super powerful. It's just really strong, and can even take out like multi-lane maps that split. Maybe not if they're like going crazy in different directions, but if they split up like Spring here, it goes really well too. We'll get the armor piercing darts, and that's just going to destroy everything. You can use Brickle's abilities whatever you want. This map was pretty chill, and because I have these strategies down really optimized, there are no issues, so a lot of times I don't even have to use the abilities. But you might make some mistakes here, maybe it won't be as optimal, so those abilities could be needed at times. We're then going to get some discount villages and get a few more subs. We want to be saving up at least by the start of round 49, or else we won't get sub commander by round 63. So we want to get sub commander before round 63 so we can actually beat it. Now from there's a few options for DDTs. You either can get MIB. This would require a double discount setup, so again a 202 and a 230. You can use Glue Storm, which is be an MIB skip. If you're comfortable with the MIB skip, you can do that, or you can use Preemptive Strike. If you're going for Preemptive Strike, you're going to need to start saving up for that after sub commander. In this particular example, I'm just going to go for Glue Storm, but there's some different ways you can do. So with just that one discount, we'll be able to push on for the rest of the sub army, and then we'll get Glue Storm later on. I'm going to get a whole bunch of 203 subs. Because I don't have as much space, I'm going to then upgrade those guys to 204. If you have more space, you can literally just spam a ton of 203 subs, and it's really powerful. We'll get a few stems, 401, so the buff gets spread out easily on slow attacking towers, and then before round 90 at least, we'll get our Glue Storm up. You need to get it before round 90 so you get the cooldown, so at least around 89, and then we can just Glue Storm or even use level 3 ability that will allow it to take down stuff too. One thing to note is on this map I did get Brickle and Rage the subs. You want Brickle and Rage the subs so the buff goes on everyone. Kind of just didn't really work out, so a few of them have the buff. Other than that, that's pretty good. So we have the sub commander up, the whole army is doing good, and we can use the Glue Storm to kill the DDTs. It's an MIB skip, so that will take everything out just fine, and we just have a ton of damage. It's really powerful. If you're going for the MIB, CTA is a pretty cool option. Call to arms that is, but yeah, I just have a ton of money left over. You can do a lot. You could even get like carrier flagship if you want. Might be an interesting idea. It's really powerful with the Glue Storm and can buff the subs too. So yeah, just a ton of options on Spring here, which is a relatively difficult map. I was able to win with around 57,000 cash spare, which is pretty darn cool. So yeah, it's a good strategy. Classic strategy, has been used since like the start of time. Yeah, like since the ancient Egyptians were doing it too in the beginning of history. So yeah, moving on to the next one, we have Grandmaster Ninja, which again is another classic strategy, as we probably figure out from this video, and let's go right into it. So this one's a little bit more difficult to do, but it's extremely powerful, and it has one crazy benefit of being able to destroy multi-lane maps. You'll see that later. So we're going to start off by going into a double shot ninja, and for heroes you can use like Pat or Geraldo or something else. Gwen could work too. Oben is, yeah, I guess he can do it. I like to go for Pat just because he's kind of more fun. Geraldo, I guess, is a bit more efficient. Gwen will be able to deal with DDTs a bit easier, but Pat Fusty's fun because his roar ability goes crazy. So we'll be getting the Pat Fusty down right about there, and then I'm going to go for, you either go for like a stim or a balloon jutsu first. It doesn't really matter which one you do, both of them tend to get to the goal a little bit easier. Most of the time I end up getting to the jutsu first. I find it just a little bit easier to beat around 36 sometimes with that, so yeah. I like to get the jutsu first most of the time. For this one, I got the berserker brew first for whatever, I don't know, reason. Then we're going to want to get some discounts up. The double discount is very important. And then we'll get a flash bomb. Flash bomb is very important for being able to take out round 59 without just utterly dying to RNG, which is really annoying. And plus it will help in the 80s to clean up some super ceramics. Then from there, it's time to spam the shinobis, and I hope you have some space and some good placement because we need a lot of them. 20 in total, so you need to cram them in. There's a few tips. The measurement for how far the shinobi range will go into hitting the head ninja is based on the middle pixel of the feet of the balloon jutsu, which I guess would be the head ninja, and you can increase the range by getting seeking shurikens. That was changed at some point instead of ninja discipline, so you want to make sure, and you can kind of go back and forth. You see me, I'm looking, do I have that buff, do I not? Sometimes I might need to buy the range, sometimes you might mess it up a little bit. That's fine. I've had many 21 or 22 shinobi chimps games, so yeah, once we get that, we're destroying everything, and you can use Pat's roar to buff everything up. And now we need to get glue storm, so you could either go glue storm or MIB. If you have the double discount, you could do like a 202 and a 230 village, or I mean 202 and 032 village, like that, so you get the double discount. Or you can go for glue storm. With glue storm, it can be tight a little bit of the time. Sometimes you might have to try to beat around 90 with only the tier 4, which can work, but you need to be able to time it a little bit better. So if you're not comfortable with that, you don't have to do it, but it's just really, really powerful. And when you use the Pat roar, everything just gets shredded up. One thing to note is that if you use glue storm, you will need to beat round 100 DDTs with the glue storm, so you need to use the glue storm ability early on round 99. That is one thing that I kind of forgot in this run, my mistake. So I ended up, I think I had to like retry round 100 once, so technically this wasn't a black border. If I remembered to do that one little thing, then it would be. So I guess it's an important thing to note. But as you can see, round 98 will get absolutely destroyed when I use the Pat's roar. Doesn't even come close. Use glue storm hopefully before I did on round 99, so then you could beat round 100 kind of guaranteed. And then we can use the roar there, use glue storm, take everything out, and 47k spare, pretty good. So that was a bunch of strategies, and if you want to see more strategies in detail like this, I made a playlist of every single tower and hero that has all of the strategies covered, so you can hit the end screen right here to check it out. It's really cool, and I put a lot of work into it, and you definitely can learn a bunch of things. Bye!